First of all, I'm Dallas Jones, and I'm a vice president at Ecosense, former director of the ARST NRPP, and been at Radon for a long time, since the mid-1980s. And with me, I have my young sidekick. That's David Olivas. So I'm here at a point now where I want to explain to you that our mobile app and web dashboard application work together. We've had that for some time to provide a seamless way to track your records and start and stop the device and create reports and so forth. But we do recognize that there's always room for improvement. We have been listening to you for some to improve some things. So we have made a couple of key improvements to make your life easier and to make management of the devices more efficient for you. And so I'm going to, and one of those is that we've had for quite a while is the ability to to create a report that is a simple basic report, or one that is compliant with the ANSI standards. But we've added a couple of new features, including some things that deal with your customer list and how you're able to delete and add, and how you sort through them and so forth, as well as an updated report where it's easier for your customers to read. And so I'm going to turn this over to David, and he's going to quickly show you how this works.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of like a general demonstration of the dashboard. If you haven't seen it, for those that have seen it, this is going to be a little bit of a refresher for you guys. So as soon as you use your credentials that you use for your application and you go to RadonEyePro.com and log in, this is what you're going to see, right? You're going to see our compliance update, as well as, you know, any reminder for calibrations or anything like that, right? So as you can see, I have my 3 devices here, right? And let's say that I have a test that I want to, you know, generate. So I just go to inspection data. And then from inspection data, what you'll see is the devices pop up here. So let's say I click on this one here. Right. Once I click report, I have the ability to choose between the standard report and the ANSI report, like Dallas said. We did have a question earlier asking about the kind of template that you can make and all that. So the standard report's very standard, very short, and you know, it's not as comprehensive as the ANSI. So to answer that question, the ANSI is the one that you might want to, you know, go with if you know the standard report is not sufficient. So once you click on your template, you go next. You could choose your display average. So we'll just go with the default here. You could choose the measurement units. Here in the US, we go picocuries per liter, and then becquerels elsewhere. So let's select. As you can see, you know, I can add all of my information. You can already see the, you know, the pass or fail, right? I'll just add the building year, what home it is, living room, first floor, right? You can go through it and check all the information. So you can include your logo if you haven't put it into your settings already. You can hit preview. As you can see, my logo pops up. And then once you click save, it'll go ahead and pop up on in another tab, as you can see here. Sorry, my computer is a little slow. But then you can go through all of the data. You can see the client information, the tester information that you would have put into your settings, and so on and so forth. So that is the update of the that we have right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing and give the floor back to Dallas.
Oh, come on, current slide. All right. So a couple things I wanted to share with you here. We had people say, for good reason, that they could not easily find the client. When they go and enter clients who kept adding to the list, they'd be out in the field with their app and they'd have to scroll through if they had a lot of customers, and we want you to have lots of customers. And that took them some time. That was irritating. So now you can easily go into your dashboard and you can just check all the clients that you'd like to get rid of out of your database, or you can export them into a file and save them, so you don't have to lose them, but you can get them off the dashboard where you don't have so many to scroll through. It will also, even if you have them all in there, when you add a client, it will automatically put the newest client at the top of the list. So if you're out in the field, then it's gonna and you need to find the client to add, from your mobile app, then it'll show up right there at the top of the list, or the first 2 or 3, depending on how many you added that day or so. We're hoping that will make it a lot easier for you to maneuver through your clients and make it a little faster for you to get your reports done. As I mentioned, you can also go through, in addition to bulk client management, you can also download all of your reports, or at least 10 at a time. You can select a page, or I think you can put more on the page. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. If you want to select 20 to a page, you can check them all. You can download them. It may take a little bit. I'm not going to say it's like instant, but you can download them all at once and put them into your folder on your computer if you want. So that's it. David's already kind of shown you the dashboard. I do want to show you what we've done to. This is something that was really important for me. There are states that you need to report your activity reports into the state licensing program. So we now have everything set up for at least 9 of those states. You can be able to get them in the format that the state wants. So if you're in Pennsylvania, or you're in Minnesota, or you're in Indiana, whatever the state is, Illinois, then you can actually create your report and have it ready to send into the state just by downloading the information. Now, what we're doing right now, because we've got all the report templates set up and we can access your data, is while we're continuing to work on automating that a little more, you just need to call us. So if you've got a report due, to send into the state, or send us a message at support@ecosense.io and say, hey, I need to get my monthly report, or my quarterly report, or my annual report, whatever it is, then we will prepare that for you and send it to you. Eventually, what we're intending to have in the next couple months is the ability for you to go in and select it and download it directly without having to send in a request. One step at a time, but we're hoping that will make life easier for you, and also help open up opportunities in states where that reporting is important. We want to make sure you can provide that. We have amazing customer service led by David. We've got people monitoring our support emails. They come in through HubSpot, and we do our level best to make sure that if it's a question or a concern from a professional about a RadonEye Pro in particular, that they go to the top of the list to get attention because we know your business depends on it, as opposed to a consumer. We take care of them also, but you get priority for sure. I do want to go back here for a minute because I left it off here. Did I miss the reports or did I cut those out? Maybe I did. Well, I guess I took the reports out. All right, so yep, there it is. Let me show it now. So as we mentioned, we wanted to make the report easier for you to read. If you are one of our customers who experienced a glitch that we did have, yes, we did, I'll admit it. We had a couple reports as we first went live with this that were at 4.0 and they had pass, and we all know that can't happen. So we've gotten that corrected. It was a obvious programming error, and we understand that can't happen, so we fixed it right away. But you can see that when you go through and quickly enter yes or no on your mobile app to these questions, then you have everything you need for your ANSI-ARS compliant test. You can put in photographs both under the measurement environment section as well under the comment section. So actually 2 photographs per each of those sections. So you could have 4 photographs if you want. We made sure that the recommendations that are required are all there, including you may even notice here, because we think it's really important that you take advantage of the fact that today we have technology to constantly monitor instead of just doing a test every 2 years or every 5 years, that particularly if the test result is 4 picocuries per liter or higher, and the recommendation to do a post mitigation clearance test and then retest every 2 years, or install a continuous radon monitor to ensure the system remains effective. If you're not part of our referral club, we really invite you to go to our website and go to the referral club page and fill out a short little form and become part of that, where you can provide those kind of units to your clients. Another important thing is, I know you're handing out test reports where the result is between 2 and 4 picocuries per liter, and the EPA recommendation that has to be on the report is for the client to consider fixing the building. We also have the recommendation there to, if they're not going to go ahead and fix, then continuous monitoring is really important, because you may have done the absolutely best 2-day test possible, but it was still only a 2-day test. And we know radon concentrations can vary not only from hour to hour and from day to day and week to week, but month to month and season to season. So it's important that people can keep an eye on it at such an affordable price. Lastly, we will, if you are doing a test, let's say in Minnesota, and then it will automatically put in the state required information for your state, so you don't have to worry about that. And we've got some other boilerplate information like you see there on that last page that will automatically be added to the report. So I think we're at a point where we can take some questions. I will leave this up there. You can just kind of let it be with you for a minute while David takes some questions, but we're offering you a good deal on a RadonEye Pro here for the next 10 days or so. David, what do you got?
All right, so right now I have a question regarding how do you permanently add the company logo into the report template? Basically, the way you do that, and maybe I can show you here in a sec, right?
While he's pulling that up, I'll tell you that you can create specific templates. So if you want to do the ANSI-ARS, instead of the ANSI-ARS default, you can go in and create your own template. based on the NCR's default or the basic one, and then you can preset it for certain things. Go ahead, Dave.
All right. So basically, the way you would do that is you would go down to your settings. Right. And then as you can see, we have all the account settings and everything like that. Once you scroll down, it says company logo. Here you can go ahead and choose a file. And when you choose a file, it has to be a PNG or a JPEG. But once you choose a file, it'll open up your downloads, right? And then you'll be able to add whatever company logo you would like. So it's very simple. Once you add it here, it'll show up on every one of your reports at the top. And then as for templates, like Dallas mentioned, you can just click on templates and you can create a new template, right? So for example, the measurement professional, let's say it's Dallas Jones, right? Whatever the certification number is, the email address. Oops, sorry. And then whatever phone number, right? 650, for example, right? If you have a test placement field technician, you can also add their information. If this person is the same as the retrieval technician, you can also add that information there. And then if you want to auto-populate the comments, you can do so. You could even add any pictures that you want to add. And then once you click save, you can name it, right? So we can call this webinar example. Click save. Give it a minute to reload, and then you'll see it there at the top. It'll show you when it was created. And then if you want to edit it, you can duplicate it, and you can even delete it.
Yeah, so if you wanted to duplicate it to create one for Joe instead of David, say you've got multiple field technicians, and you can create specific templates for whoever whoever the testers are in your firm, and then you can pre-populate their certification or license information and that sort of thing. But I did get a comment here from the gentleman who asked that question, and he said he did that, but the logo is loaded, but it's not appearing on the report. So what we need to do is if you'll send a message in to David Olivas at ecosense.io or to me, we'll schedule a time and we'll make sure we get that set up for you. If you're having trouble with it, then we want to make sure that it's working for you. Yeah,
and in the meantime, if you can you try to add the picture again, just to see if it works, and then recreate your report. But let's get in touch and we can help you out. So we have another question by Jim East. Hi David, I'm new to the RadonEye Pro, but not to the radon testing industry. I perform radon testing in Illinois. Can the RadonEye Pro put multiple devices into a single report? Also, can a duplicate test with a duplicate average be added to a radon test report? That is a great question. Dallas, do you have any comments on that?
I know you can't put them into the single report through the dashboard right now. You can refer to it. You can put it in there, like if you go into the report information, there's a place to put in was another test placed at the property, and then you can choose whether it was a duplicate or another location, I believe. And yes. then so you can reference it. So you'll have to know what the other report number was or whatever, and reference it from one to the other. So it's not going to just combine them automatically, but there is a place to put on the report that yes, there was another property or another test performed at that property, and that will be on the report. And so you can put that in there. As far as duplicates, yes, there is a way to check duplicates. We're working on some other things with regard to that too. One of the reasons why I am very interested in Illinois, and I'm sensitive to your question, Jim. I have been working to get my measurement professional license back in Illinois. It's been quite a number of years since I had one there, and so part of that is to make sure that I can be of assistance in situations like these for our customers, and with some other things we're coming out with this fall. So if you want to talk to me about that, call me and I'll let you know what we're up to. And if we can be of more help to you in Illinois, then that's a topic near and dear to me. I want to make sure we can move further ahead in Illinois and be a better service.
Very good. Okay, another question is there a recommended battery to use with the Pro? Yes, there is. And in fact, we will send out specifications at in the post webinar email. So you can go ahead and check that out. And yeah, so we've extensively tested some of these batteries that work very well. So, okay, we have a question from John. I have a question about Radon continuous monitoring tools. I have heard from some home inspectors that continuous monitoring tools do not give correct readings. What can you say about the reliability of the RadonEye Pro in respect with my concern?
Wow, let me take that one. So I'm that's interesting. The reason why the EPA, even back in 1993, said that for real estate transaction where you're only deploying a test, for one test period, you would, if you're using passive devices, you need to put two side by side. Is passive devices are, and I don't mean to be derogatory, but they're dumb. They don't have any intelligence. They don't have any way to let you know they failed. So if you only place one, then if it's a statistical outlier, if there was something wrong with it, then you'd have no way of knowing it. So that's why they say you put two together. With an electronic device, if it fails, not 100% of the time, but probably 90% of the time, you can tell it failed. Maybe you have a dead detector. Maybe it's screaming, meaning it's reading the highest it can record every hour. So there's getting some sort of interference with the detector. Something that is usually you're able to see when you look at the data that, wow, this monitor has malfunctioned. The other thing is time integrating passive devices do the best they can to integrate over the time that they're deployed, and they have a long history and they serve a useful purpose. But what they don't give you is the ability to see what's going on. For example, perhaps you have a building, or it could be a home, it could be a school, but a building where certain activities are causing the radon to go up. Like when you turn the air handler on, it's causing more radon to be drawn in from below the house than when the air handler is off. You're not going to see that with a time integrating passive device. It's just going to average everything together. And if you have one that is able to give you good hourly readings that you can count on, then you're able to start to make some sense of what's happening. Oftentimes when they test schools or multifamily buildings, for example, with charcoal, which is typically the case because they're so inexpensive, after they discover a unit that's elevated, then they need to go back and do some more testing. Well, they may verify it with another device, but if they're going to then try to figure out what's going on for mitigation, they're often going to have to turn to a continuous monitor to see what's going on. So I'm not sure where the idea is that continuous monitors are not as reliable, but perhaps you can send me a note on that, and I'd love to hear your comments. Got one there from Robert on how often does the RadonEye need to be calibrated? Every continuous monitor, according to the ANSI standards or the NRSB standards, or or requirements, needs to be calibrated annually. We do have all of our units are calibrated initially from the chamber in South Korea, which does participate in an international intercomparison program. And then because we don't want to send them back there for recalibration, we have agreements with both the Bowser-Morner Chamber in Dayton, Ohio, and the Kansas State University Chamber in Manhattan, Kansas. I think they charge $145 and $150 respectively, which is a special price that they agreed to for our customers. So you can go to either one of those if you've want specific information. Go to their website and you can fill out a little pre-form, and they'll tell you exactly what to do to send it in.
Awesome. Julie, I see you. Let me give you a call, and I'll walk you through how to get everything going on your phone. And Bruce, thank you for the kind words. He says, thank you, Dallas and David. He likes the new report, especially the test results on the first page. So thank you for that.
Oh, let me take John here. I was about to ask that question if you were in Canada, because one of the things that Canada is different than the United States is Canada, wants at least 90 days worth of testing before they recommend mitigation, which is different than in the United States. And there's a long history there as to why the U.S. does it differently. Make a long story short, EPA decided that they'd rather have a whole lot of good tests than a handful of really good tests. So when the EPA and the Science Advisory Board here put together the protocol for testing in real estate transactions, which they thought would be a motivator, and it is, for getting people to test, they said, well, okay, we think we can do a reasonably good job for testing in a 2-day period. Now, granted, there may be some instances where a decision is made to mitigate based on a 2-day test. And you could say, well, but the average concentration over the course of a year was less than 4 picocuries per liter, or the action level in Canada, which is 200 becquerels per cubic meter. But all of the science tells us that that there's a large number of radon-induced lung cancers that occur to exposures of less than the action level. So EPA decided, well, okay, so maybe some of these houses would have tested a little under if they had tested for a longer period of time. Are we doing a bad thing for having them go ahead and mitigate it? And their conclusion was no, it's reducing risk. So we'd rather have them go ahead and deal with it. And certainly there could be those instances where you tested for 2 days and, real estate transaction, and, perhaps somebody cheated on the test. We try to do the best we can to prevent that by taking measures. But, or it was, say it was a mild time of year in the United States, depending on where you are, and the air handler wasn't running as much as it is in January or February. And so it looked okay for the 2 days that was tested, but then they find out when the weather starts to get colder that, wow, radon concentrations come up if they actually look at it, which is why we really do encourage people to do constant monitoring when they fall in that 2 to 4 range with one of our affordable homeowner devices. So where do you get them calibrated in Canada? RSSI. No, sorry, it's Radon Safety Institute. So it's not RSSI, Radon Safety Institute. You probably know the name better than I do, but it's the primary calibration facility in Canada. They will calibrate them for you.
You can also see that information on our website. If you go to RadonEye Pro, if you go to Ecosense.io and click on the RadonEye Pro, you can click on facts, and it'll be the first one to show up there, and stuff like that. Before we get to Julie, Jim sent a message asking about downloading data from the RadonEye Pro. Is the data download strictly done over Bluetooth? or is there a wired USB connection that you can do it manually from the computer? Also, what is the runtime on the RadonEye Pro on the battery? I can answer this one, Dallas, if you like.
Sure.
The RadonEye Pro does most of its connection via Bluetooth, right? The cool thing about the RadonEye Pro is that it does leverage your phone service to shoot the information into the cloud, so you don't need to connect to anything. That way, once your test is done and you've confirmed it, you can actually get on your laptop and do it right from the web dashboard that I showed you. As for the runtime, we're looking at between 60 to 72 hours of power, and that depends on the size of the battery. And like I said, we're going to send out the specifications and maybe even the exact batteries that we've tested. And then Julie asked, it was a hot day and my machine was in the car for 2 hours. Do you think it's okay? It was about 100 degrees, and I think so. I think that's fine. The top temperature is 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, the good thing about our monitor that's different from one of our competitors is when it's off, it's off. Okay, so when you stop the test and you unplug it and you put it in your car, there's no power going to any of the sensors. Okay, so there's no power going to the radon sensor, the temperature sensor, the humidity sensor. There's no power going to it at all. So if it gets warm, then it's not like it's frying those sensors. Okay, so it should cool off as long as something didn't melt, which would be pretty extreme. Then we haven't had issues. What I'm hearing from people using one of our competitors' device is it runs only on battery, and the batteries are always powering the sensors, all of them. Okay, so if it gets hot, there's current going from the battery to those sensors. Now you have a problem. That's why they're having issues with people complaining that their sensors are frying and they're having to replace them early. Okay, because if they get really hot and there's juice going from the battery to those sensors, that's not a good recipe.
Okay, and then I think this will be the final question since we're coming up to the time. We have someone asking, can you give some advice for beginner radon inspectors, like strategy or any highlights? Regards, Alex.
Yes, here's what I'll tell you. I have, if you send me an email at djones@ecosense.io, we have a webinar I give with some frequency. I'm pretty sure we have it recorded somewhere. It's 7 ways home inspectors can sell more radon tests. So if you're looking to generate more business, then hopefully that would help you. I'm assuming you're a home inspector from what you put here, so I'll be glad to share that with you.
Okay, great. One last question here. I was going to type it out, but that was pretty quick, Dallas. In the basement, if in the basement there is no internet connection with the cell phone, what shall we do? Well, that's it's pretty easy, pretty intuitive, and it looks like, but basically what you would do is you would go into an environment where there is cell service. You would open up the app. Once the app is open, you can go back downstairs to the basement and connect via Bluetooth, and you'll be able to start and stop the device that same way. So it's very simple. Just as long as you open the app where there's service, you can use it in a non-service area. Yep. Okay. And then Julie and John would like to see those that information too that you gave to Alex. Okay, Dallas, just keep that in mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Julie, I owe you a call, so we'll share that together.
All right. Well, I think that is all for questions, and with 2 minutes to spare, all right, Dallas, I'll let you wrap up for us.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for taking your Wednesday late afternoon or early evening to spend with us. I hope we were successful in answering some of your questions and concerns. I really want to let you know we're committed to service and taking care of you. My role with the company is to make sure that we're on track to do just that always with everything we're doing. We've got a great team. If we if you've got something you say, wow, that's not right, then you need to let us know and we'll make it right. All right. So just keep in touch with us. If you've got ideas, share them with us and we'll see if we can make them happen. There's always room for improvement in life, and we're no different. So we very much appreciate your input. Thanks for joining us, and call on us anytime.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Oh, don't forget the sale, $675. Check us out on the website. We got a big Labor Day sale. You have some other deals there too. The Labor Day sale will start the 1st, so you may have to wait 2 days for that one for everything. But if you want to get a RadonEye Pro for $675, send us an email. We'll get you the code.
Or just remember the code Dallas120, and then you'll be able to get another one.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care, everyone.